This is the review sheet for the first test on integers. Obviously this is a different voice than before. This is Mr. Bush. I teach on Team Orion. I want to go over the review sheet here, pause at any time, make sure you highlight questions you didn't get, ask for help tomorrow, or whenever possible. The first part says to write an integer to represent each situation, so we're looking for a number that represents a situation. Number 1, above 0 would be positive 6 degrees. Number 2, a loss is negative 15. Number 3, 2 feet below is negative 2. And number 4, a deposit of $12 is positive. Part B, write the opposite of each integer. So all we're doing is we're taking the number that's there, changing the sign in front. So number 5 is negative 2. Number 6 is negative 15. 7 is positive 3. And 8 is positive 34. Part C, the absolute value of each problem. Absolute value is always positive. It's the distance from 0. It doesn't matter about direction. So I just take that number inside the absolute value bars. Make sure you do not write the bars after you take the absolute value of it. So number 9 is positive 8, 10 is 19, 11 is 0, and 12 is 574. Notice there's no bars here. No, don't write the bars after you take the absolute value of the number. Part D, fill in the blank with the symbol that makes it true. So number 13, negative 9 is greater than negative 15 because it's closer to 0. Number 14, negative 8 is less than 7. And number 15, the absolute value of negative 5 is 5, so those are equal. Part E, compare in order. 16 says from least to greatest, so I could use a number line to help me. I'm looking for the smallest number, that's the biggest negative. So negative 7 is the biggest one I have, then negative 5, then negative 1, then 0, and 4, then 9. 17 is greatest to least. Make sure you read the question carefully. So I'm looking for the biggest number first, that's 5, 2, 1, then negative 1, negative 4, negative 6. Again, you can use a number line to help you with those if you need it. On the next page, simplify the expressions. That's just finding the answer to that. So the rule is for number 18, the signs are different. You subtract the two numbers, 7 minus 3, that's 4. And it stays a negative because 7 is bigger than 3. Number 19 is the same rule. Subtract the two numbers because they're different signs. And it's positive because 17 is bigger than 12. And 17 is positive. Number 20, again, subtract them because they're different. And it stays positive because 8 is bigger than 5. 21, the signs are the same now, so I add the numbers together, keep the sign. 22, add those together, keep it positive because they're both positive. 23, subtract them, that's 4, and it's negative because 11 is bigger than 7. 24 is where we start talking about subtracting. This is where we can rewrite it as addition. So the first number stays the same, change it to addition. The second number gets flipped, so I have negative 22 plus negative 8. Now the signs are the same, I add them together, that's 30, and it stays the same because they're both. So I'm going to recommend that you rewrite these as addition, negative 5 plus 9. They're different, subtract. That's 4, it stays positive because it's bigger. 3 plus negative 15, they're different, subtract them, that's 12, and it's negative because 15 is bigger. Negative 25 plus negative 15. Now they're the same, so I add them together, that's 40. It stays negative because they're both negative. Negative 8 plus 16. Subtract them because they're different, and it's positive 8. 29, that becomes 1 plus 4, which is 5. Number 30 is now multiplication. And the signs are the same in multiplication. The answer is positive, and their difference is negative. So 30 is 45. 31, they're the same, so that's 24, positive. 32, they're different, so that's a negative 21. 33, they're different, so that's a negative 80. 34, they're the same, so that's positive 25. 36 is negative 5 because they're different. 34, oh, sorry, 35 should be 75. A little too far ahead of myself. 36 is negative 5. 37 is different, so that's negative 6. 38 is positive 1 because they're the same. 39 is dividing and they're different, so it's negative 3. 40, same sign, so it's positive 11. And 41, they're different, so that would be negative 10. So that part is just making sure that you know the rules. On the next part is where we start extended response short answer. That's where we show all work to receive full credit. The temperature Monday morning was negative 5. By afternoon, the temperature warmed up to 7. Plot the temperatures. So negative 5 is here. This is Monday a.m. Make sure you label it. And 7 degrees is here. That's Monday p.m. But how many degrees warmer was it in the afternoon than the morning? So we could count the distance between these two. Or we talked about distance on a number line in lesson 6. That's the absolute value of the first number minus the second number. So in this case, the first number was negative 5. So the absolute value of negative 5 minus 7. Negative 5 minus 7 is negative 12. And when I take the absolute value of that, it's just 12. So I could use a number line count, or I could use our absolute value. So 12 degrees is how much warmer it was. Question 43, Jessica made the addition model to show negative 5 plus negative 2 plus 3. Do the arrows correctly resemble the numbers? So the first number is negative 5. That should be to the left, going from 0 to the left direction, 5 spaces. If you notice, this arrow points to the right. So the answer to this question is no. Negative 5 is not correct. It points in the wrong direction. B, Jessica used the number line above to conclude the sum of the three numbers is 1. Is she correct? If the first arrow is not, then no. She is not correct. If she is incorrect, find the sum and draw the correct model. So my model would be from 0, we're going 5 spaces to the left. That's the first one, so that was negative 5. And the next move was from there 2 spaces to the left because it's negative. So that's negative 2. And then from there we're going 3 to the right because it's positive. So this would be the correct model. And I end up at, if you notice, I'm off a little bit, but it's at negative 4. So I could use the number line to show, or I could have did negative 5 plus negative 2. Those together, that's negative 7, plus 3 is negative 4. Question 44, refer to the diagram to the right, write an equation for the diagram. If you notice, the numbers are off a little, so I apologize. That's 0, and if you notice as we go down, they get off a little. So on the bottom, it looks like they're actually in the wrong spot. So the first arrow is going down, that's negative. And it went from 0 to 5, so that's negative 5. That's the first arrow. And the next arrow goes down 2, so that's also a minus. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So negative 5 minus 4 is the expression. So negative 5 minus 4 equals negative 9. That's where it ended up. Find the sum. That's where we ended, negative 9. What integers do the arrows represent? Well, the first one was negative 5. And the second one represented negative 4. On to the next question, number 45. In the integer game, what card do you need to get a score of 0? So I'm looking for a total of 0. If you have a negative 16, a negative 35, and a positive 18. So I need to figure out what I have right now. Negative 16 and negative 35 give me negative 51 together. and then I add 18, so that gives me a negative 33. So right now I need a negative 33, or I have a negative 33. And to get a score of 0, I need the opposite of that number. So plus the opposite of that number should be 0. So I take that number and I flip the sign in front. If I get a 33, I would have a 0. If a player had the following cards, what is the value of his hand? 1 plus negative 7 plus 4. Those together is negative 2. So that's the current value. And now it says identify 2 different ways the player could get to a score of 5 by adding or removing only one card. So I can add or subtract something to negative 2. Negative 2 plus something equals 5. So what do I need to add to negative 2? If I'm at negative 2 in the number line and I need to get to 5, that's 7 spaces. So if I add 7, that will work. So I could add the 7 card. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I also could take away a card to get to 5. So I need to figure out what card I need to take away. Now over here I added 7. So if I take away the opposite of that, a negative 7, remember this will change to negative 2 plus 7, which would also give me 5. So this is a little tricky. But I could remove the negative 7 or add 7. Both of those would get me to a score of 5. Write 2 equations for part A, one for each of the methods you came up with for arriving at a score of 5. That's the equations above. See above. Using the rule of subtraction, rewrite the following subtraction. Oh, sorry. We're going to cross it off. There's no question for that. 2 7th grade students, Monique and Matt, both solved the following math problem. The temperature drops from 7 to negative 17. By how much did the temperature decrease? The students came up with different answers. Monique said the answer is 24. Matt said the answer is 10. Who is correct? When we're finding distance on a number line, or change in temperature, we're going to take the absolute value of the first number minus the second number. I could have drawn a number line for this. The problem is every time I count on a number line, it might be big. So I want to kind of stay away from using number line all the time. So I'm going to rewrite this as addition. 7 plus positive 17. Still keeping an absolute value because I didn't take it yet. Absolute value of 24 is 24 degrees was the change. So in this case, Monique is correct. And I just used a formula to show who is correct, which is there above. On the next page, Juan and Mary are playing the integer card game. The cards in their hands are shown below. What are the scores in each of their hands? Juan's score, 3 plus 4 plus 9 plus negative 12. So 3 and 4, that's 7. Plus 9 is 16. 16 plus negative 12 is 4. So that's Juan's score. Mary's is negative 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2. So I'm going to add all these together because they're the same. So negative 2 plus 6. And this also is 4. Lydia says that if Juan and Mary both take away their 3s, Juan's score will be higher than Mary's. Marcus argues and says that Juan and Mary's score will be equal. Are either of them right? If I take the same number away from both hands, the 3, 4 take away 3 is 1. So there still will be the same score. So Marcus is right. You are taking away the same number from equal totals. Juan picks up another set of cards that is exactly like each card in his hand. Which of the following would make Mary's score equal to Juan's? So right now, Juan picks up the exact same cards. His score goes up by 4. So we're looking for something that would give Mary another 4. Double every card in her hand. If I double every card in her hand, that's going to double her total, which would give me another 4. So that's a good one. Pick up a 4. That's exactly what I need. 4. Pick up a 7 and negative 3. A 7 and negative 3 together give me a 4. That's good also. Take away her 3 and 1. That would give me a negative 4. That's not good. Take away her 2 and negative 2. Those are opposites. That's really a 0. That's not good. Pick up one of each of Juan's cards. If she picks up one of every card that Juan has, she now has a new total of 4 higher. That's exactly what we needed. Explain why your selections will make Juan's and Mary's scores equal. All the selections chosen above result in a score of 4 higher. They will keep their scores equal. And the last page. Diamond used a number line to add. She started counting at 10, so this is where she's starting, right here. She counted until she was on the number negative 4 in the number line. So she's going from here all the way to here, negative 4. If Diamond is modeling addition, what number did she add to 10? So 10, and then we went in the negative direction, and we can count the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 10 plus negative 14 is the model that she used to get to negative 4. Use absolute value to express the distance between 10 and negative 4. So we've talked about this. The distance is represented by the absolute value of the first number, 10, minus the second number, negative 4. I rewrite that as addition, 10 plus 4. So the absolute value of 10 plus 4. And the absolute value of 14 is 14 units. So that's the exact distance I got. Brian and Jeanette were playing the integer card game like the one you played in class. They were practicing adding and subtracting. Jeanette had a score of negative 10, so that's her score. Brian took away one of Jeanette's cards and he showed it to her. So he took away a negative 8. Jeanette recalculated her score to be negative 2, but Brian disagreed. He said that her score should be negative 18 instead. Read the conversation, answer the question. Jeanette, removing a negative card means the same thing as subtracting a positive. Subtracting a positive. So negative 10 minus negative 18 is negative 18. It does not. Removing a negative card is the same. Removing a negative card is the same as adding the same positive card. My score will go up. Based on their disagreement, who is right? So we notice subtracting a positive is same as taking away. And Jeanette says that subtracting a negative is the same as positive. So if we take a negative 8 away from her hand, it should make the score go up. So based on this, Jeanette is correct. Negative 10, that was her score. We took away the negative 8 card, so minus negative 8. If I rewrite the addition, it's negative 10 plus 8, which is negative 2. Removing a negative would be the same as adding a positive. That's the rule we talked about. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. As always, we will answer anything you have.